Good evening, Second Baptist, and welcome to Family Check-In. And we're grateful to have you tonight, and thank you so much for being a part of the service program tonight. We got a really good program, and I think it's going to be a tremendous blessing to you, very informative. We have as our special guest tonight, Cam Thomas, our nephew, the son of our great friend, Reverend Elias Thomas, and we just thank you for checking in. Please hit the share button, share it with others. We're going to have a really, really good time tonight. Very informative, and I know you're going to be blessed by coming and being a part tonight.
And yes, we do want to also say to you that we want you to continue to pray for those who are in bereavement, be in prayer for the Cheatham family, as well as the Perkins family, and we also want you to be in prayer for Sister L'Oreal Mukinai, who lost her mother on yesterday. So be in prayer. Prayer is important to help them as they recover from the loss of a loved one.
And we also asked to be in prayer for the Faulkner family. Sister Darlene Faulkner passed away, one of our longtime members, so please lift them in prayer as well. We've, as many of you know, we had a problem on Monday. Someone broke out our windows, broke out 2 windows, 2 doors, and 2 windshields of the church vans who had a mental crisis. But we're praying for them and praying that they're getting the right kind of help that they need. Mental health is a tremendous issue in our community, especially in the African American community, and we don't deal with it like we should.
Amen.
So please be in prayer. Also, we were not able to get our ice cream garden open yet, but this week we hope to have it done. Pray for us.
Pray
that
for us.
Everything fall in place, that it'll be open very soon. Also, we did have a wonderful service, as my wife said. Choir did a wonderful job. And, before we forget, those of you that received your shots 2 weeks ago, the Pfizer shot, this Wednesday, between 5 and 7, please come and get your second shot. And for those of you who have not, please do so. It's important. We know the Delta variant is spreading across the country. It's the #1 variant now, and so we ask that you please take advantage of getting your vaccination and make it out. Not only that you'll be safe, but those around you will be safe. We had a great time today. The choir did an excellent job. We're thankful for that. So we're going to just we're going to ask for those of you that did not get a chance to hear it, and those who did, hear it again. The choir is going to tremendously bless you today, as they did all of us.
Amen.
Aren't you happy about it? I don't have to worry. I don't have to be afraid because he knows the path that he's leading me. That's why we say through the storm and even through the rain. Come on, tenors. Through the storm. Some of you going through storms right now. Through the storm. Through the storm. Come on, join it now. Go through the storm and the rain. Through the storm. Through the storm. Through the storm. Even the rain. Through the storm. Through the storm. And even through the rain. He leads me. He leads me through every one of my storms and all the rain. He keeps leading me, yes, through the storm and the I can press my way because he's leading me through every storm and through the rain. When it ain't going like I want it to go, he's still leading me. He's got me in the hollow of his hand through the storm and the rain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Through the I am not afraid because he knows the path that he leads me. Yes, he leads me through utter confusion. He leads me. Oh yes, he leads me. Yes. Oh, me. Come on, say me. Oh, he leads me. Oh, no, yeah, yeah,
Hey, welcome back, and guess who I have with me? I've got Cameron Thomas, CJ Cam Thomas. He's with us today, and I want you to know he's son of one of my longest friends. Reverend Elias Thomas, pastor, Community Baptist Church, and he's in town from Tennessee.
Yes.
And he has a tremendous story. But first, let me just share something that you know, I'm sitting on 2 pillows in order to be the same height that he's. You know, I didn't want it to feel like he's towering over me. I didn't want to give him a complex. Yeah, I'm on a booster seat to make sure that we are the same height and that everything is symmetrical. So, welcome, Cam.
Thanks.
What's going on?
Not much, man. Just sitting here. I love this trip back because it's been a few years actually, and I bought my son for the first time, and him being at the farm and being able to see family, friends that I've grown up with and become truly an intricate part of my growth and my support system. It's been amazing, honestly.
Okay. Well, tell us about, listen, we followed your football career since you was coming on up, and your dad, and I would sometimes slip with him and go to some of the football games, and you were the pride and joy of your dad, and he talked about you over and over and over again, and so we've been following you for the longest. Tell us who you played for, and what happened, and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, so I went undrafted to the Buffalo Bills, and I spent 2 years there. After my first year there, during my first year there, going into the fall camp, I injured my spine, and the day I got named a starter. So that was a real serious transition, and it just led to numerous injections and therapy and many other things that went along with it. But long story short, my career basically ended from that injury because it was so severe. And I actually just had another surgery in 2019, the end of 2019, to fuse it completely. And it went through the front and have nerve damage and some lingering things that still go on. But learned how to walk again, and been a father since my rookie season. So he was there through that entire development and that transition as well. But now, just transitioning to tapping into my mental health myself. You mentioned mental health earlier, and that's been a huge part of my growth the last few years. And getting into some other business ventures and seeing, I have a podcast as well. So dealing with men and their mental health and their passions, and the Black community I'm really tapping into as well. And yeah, some other things that are in the works.
So how did you deal with, you went through many series of surgeries. I know you were in a great deal of pain,
Yes.
Constant pain. But how did you deal with, that traumatic injury, and then going from, high-profile football career, and then all of a sudden it comes to a crashing halt?
It was many different things. I think that for me, I went to seclusion easily because it was everyone who is everyone knows you for 20 plus years of giving your all to a sport and doing well at it to get to the level that you get to and overcoming many things within that. I think that what helped me was communicating. What helped me was communicating with God, communicating with myself, understanding what triggers were very heavy. I think a lot of the time so many people talk about my accolades and, hey, are you going to get back to playing? Hey, how's the injury? Or they mention their back hurts, and then they're like, I can't say that because you're back. And I think the support, the community, the communication, being honest with the hard conversations, and being able to learn and listening when God talks, because going into 2020, he put on my heart that my purpose was people. And I fully did not understand that because I'm like, man, I'm tired of talking to people. And especially about what was going on with football and football being at the forefront of everything. But it transitioned to the podcast. But before all that, I really did a deep dive into my mental health, into my spirituality, to understanding not just being a pastor's kid or a family of pastors and things of that nature, but truly understanding my faith and my faith walk. And in some of that darkness, and I love Marvin Sapp's song that they preached about today. And I think that he kept me, in so many of the darkest moments when I was like wondering, why am I still being covered? Why am I still being able to have my son, being able to have the therapy and all of those things? He really opened my eyes, and I started building that community of men inside the church, men who were listening and actively listening to understand where I was coming from, but also sharing some of their heartaches and their struggles. And I felt human again, because it was like, you're a football player and now you're done. And I thought that identity was completely gone.
Yeah, but not only that, but I know you had, how many surgeries did you have?
I had 4.
4 surgeries.
Yes.
And I know, talking to Dad all the time, he was talking about the constant pain that you're in. And it looked like you physically, you've come back from, from a long way.
Yes.
And how was that process?
It's still a process, because I'm in pain 24/7. It's not something that comes and goes. It's something that stays. And when it stays, it's easy to get into that mindset of, man, this is going to be forever. And going to therapy and doing most of the things that I've done, the acupuncture, the aquatherapy, the mini EMGs, and so many tests, epidural injections, nerve blocks, stem cell injections. I mean, we can go on and on. But overcoming that was hard, because when I get back into rehab or to training again, I'm normally training to get back to playing. And this time, I'm just training and getting healthy to live a normal life. Yeah. And understanding that dynamic and saying, hey, you can still go and do everything that you want to do in your rehab, but you have to also understand that you're doing this for longevity, not for a short burst to get back on the field to play. And the pain is the pain, but I think the more that I understand the pain and understand where it comes from and how I can deal with it more effectively, I think that's where the real healing is coming from.
Well, it's amazing, because anybody around you, you're so effervescent that you don't seem to have any pain at all. You take it after your dad, that you and your dad is always a lively party, have so much energy, and such big personality. So
yes.
big, and it doesn't seem like that. And so, how do you project that, while in pain like that?
I think that's truly my heart. I think that I connect to people's energy. I see their heart, and I'm so loving. I think I won't say I was deprived of love, but seeing so much heartache and trauma and things of that nature growing up, I just wanted to constantly be a part of, family and friends, and seeing them be great, and seeing them, sit down on the couch and play. The quality time is my thing. So the mindset of that is just, I want everybody to love each other, honestly. And I love everybody that I come in contact with, and I just see people's heart. And I think that is the only true constant that gets my mindset from pain to joy, because there was a lot of years early on where it was just pain. It was bed rest for 4 to 5 months. It was surgeries, laying in an MRI for 2 hours, strapped up to machines, and that was my life. And I got consumed in that and forgot how joyous I was and how happy and loving I was. So getting back to that, I think I want people to feel that for themselves as well. So if you see me and you see a smile, or you see me tell you I love you, or feel my hug, or whatever, embrace, I think that is the biggest thing that could possibly happen.
Now, you're in Tennessee.
Yes.
And most of your family on the East Coast.
Yes.
So how you dealing with being away, since you care so much about family?
Man, I had to move away. I moved away on purpose, only because I wanted to experiment growing on my own. I wanted to experiment to live, learn, to provide for myself, but also when I did have a family or kids, that I'll be able to, walk into that life with a foundation. And I think the injury came at an interesting time in 2015 when I had my son. Well, when the mother had my son, but it was a loss, but a gain as well. And so he was my only family in Nashville, but now it's just constant FaceTime calls or text messages. But it's hard because I am such an in-person person that when you call or you text, it's like, all right, I need to fly to you because I need to see you and put hands on you. It's been difficult, but you guys have been amazing. Everybody on Facebook and on Instagram and on socials and just checking in. I know that is something that I've held on to for the longest. That's why when I come back and I see you guys, it's such a strong embrace because I know that the love isn't distance related; it's just pure. And
we also so proud of you because I've seen you mature spiritually as well, and just love what you are doing in terms of really you going into your own ministry and doing some other things that are just for outreach, especially toward the millennials and the Generation Zs and all of that. I think it's amazing. Now you're launching into a podcast. Tell us a little bit about the podcast and how we can tune in and check you out.
So the podcast is called Zone Coverage, the podcast, and it's play on football because zone coverage is what defensive backs typically do, and that's what I did very well. But no, it's
sounds just like your dad.
I wanted to do zone coverage because it covers so much, and I knew that I wanted to cover so much. I knew that humans in general are just complex in itself, but I know that men, that's the arena that I stepped into and the group that I wanted to truly focus on because I know what I went through the last 6 years during this injury and how I didn't communicate, how I secluded myself from everyone, how I lashed out sometimes with emotions that I didn't know how to interpret or the word. I walked away from my faith for a little bit because it was like this was going to be the only thing that I was going to live with. And it's completely not the truth. And now when God put people as my purpose and I was so confused, everything that I touched, every person that I came in contact with after that was aligned with what I'm doing now, and I didn't know it yet. And so now it's just me really getting under the surface and digging into actually knowing what other men are going through, because so many of us are truly have gone through or going through similar things, but we just don't. Pride really stops us from saying, hey, this is what I'm going through, and somebody saying, oh, me too. But we yearn for that me too, because then that's the connection and that's the line that says, hey, well, come on. You can talk about this, you can listen to this, and it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's also going to Google and YouTube. I'll release 6 episodes. The first one is myself, the second is my dad and I.
That should be interesting.
That was the highest rated one. Yeah. And I actually got a lot of responses from that because him and I actually talked about our past and present and our relationship and how it's changed, developed, and what it could look like for other, sons and fathers. To have those type of real conversations where you say, hey, this is what I felt, how I feel, and you don't always have to agree, but you can understand, seek understanding, and move forward with that. And that's.
I'm going to check that one out. I'm going to check that one out this week.
Oh, you got to be on the podcast as well.
I'd love to do that. We're dealing with men is very difficult because men are like onions. They got so many different layers, and every time you peel one, it's so painful.
Yes.
So to take on that task is well needed. You're also doing a documentary, right?
Yes. So it's a lot going on, but the documentary is the main thing that I didn't present to myself at all. I didn't think that I would be doing anything of the sort. Because I was so close knit with my story, I didn't think it was a story. I went through what I went through, but the more I went and partnered with some different people, and they were saying, you know what, you need to tell your story. And this is other men saying that, so it felt a little uneasy at first, but then as we dove into it, the documentary is covering my history of me being from Paterson, New Jersey, and moving to Delaware, and then to Kentucky, and then to Nashville.
All over the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also covering family, friends. It's covering my injury. It's covering my mental health and what I discovered through that. And then also this is a little bit too much, but I'll give this to you because you know who you are.
Family,
but we also are turning that possibly into a docu-series where I'll be the first episode to basically share my story, but then going forward, it'll be other people's stories that I'll be interviewing and hosting and telling their stories.
That's exciting. So we're going to see great things from you, and you've got tremendous ability. Beyond the physical ability in football. And I think what God is getting ready to do to you, it does not yet appear what you shall be. And we are so proud of you, and we're so thankful for what you're doing in the area. And you look at whatever you're doing, look at it as ministry, because that's exactly what it is, and we're just thankful. And no, he's getting ready to pop on a flight pretty soon, so we can't hold you that long. But, you know, give some parting words to what would you like to say to young people, to men in general, you know, drop some knowledge on us.
Some knowledge. I'm writing a book, and so I'll let you know that.
Of course.
Well.
I mean,
but
you got the podcast, you're doing documentaries, doing docuseries. Of course you're writing a book.
yes, and most of the book that I want to write and will be writing is basically one-liners, some things that have either scripture or quotes or just in conversation. Pastor Days is always dropping one-liners, but I think that something to leave you with is we often fear what we haven't experienced yet, and what comes with that fear are blocks. And as we continue to not tap into those blocks or get under those blocks, we continue to not expand ourselves but close ourselves off. And I think when we get past that fear and actually try to seek understanding to what those blocks are, and you knock down one block, it's going to expand your range to be able to learn, to be able to be empathetic, to be able to talk better, to talk more, to do so many things. And I think for me, when I've encountered men and women and people who are trying to better themselves, hearing someone tell you, keep going, or you got it, or I think that is something that is so powerful and is underappreciated, because we're one-track minded in our own growth, that sometimes it's better, like in the 40, you're going to run probably faster if you got somebody running next to you. And
Or chasing
you, right? And God's always chasing you. But I think that when you have people in your community that you allow to run next to you and allow to support you and truly be there for you, those blocks are gone. And when those blocks are gone, your true essence will continue to pour out, and you're going to seek alignment, and alignment is going to come in so many different ways, whether it's in your family, friends, work, working out, eating, things of that nature. And that's been so beneficial for me. And my son is talking about his energy now. My son is talking about his sadness, his happiness. He holds on to those memories and to those understandings, because I'm letting him grow without any blocks. Those blocks that may come later, he'll have those foundational cues to be able to go back and hone into, because I'm running the race with him. You know, my dad is as well.
Sound like you already picking out some chapters for us that we need to talk about, block chapters.
There you go.
You know, so, you know, today, Cam is on Sbc TV. He's on Family Check-In. Soon he's going to be on Oprah. So we, talking about his books. We're just grateful to have you, man. I love you. And it's good to see you. I am so happy about all the stuff that you're doing, the wonderful things you're doing. And I'm looking forward to a great future. Thank you so much for seeing you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bless you, Second Baptist. We'll see you soon.